been a busy life. But it was, yeah, late.
See you up walking early this morning, so.
I was there.
Were you there? Didn't ask.
Yeah.
Where do you go to the park?
No, I walked the neighborhood. I got several routes, but I do about 3 miles.
Nice.
Press pass first thing in the morning as I'm leaving for work.
Usually about 5:10.
Yep, that's exactly.
It's so nice. I'm a little delayed.
Yeah, that's a good time to be out and about.
Yeah, it's great. Don't run into too many people. Very seldom.
Yeah,
Very
I used
That's too
to,
early for
I used to work out at 5:30 and I'd be like driving with one eye open.
seldom.
Well, I get there, we start at 5:30, so I'd be like 5:15, so it would just take me 10 minutes, but I'd be seriously driving with one eye open. Are we still part of it?
Yeah. All right, we are streaming.
All right, 5:32, call the meeting to order. I had a chance to review the minutes.
And we move to approve the minutes for July 23rd, 2024. As written.
Someone second?
Yes.
Pete did. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, unanimous approval. And just for a good of the order, we'd like to welcome our youth commissioner, Zoe, to the table today. Thanks for being here, Zoe.
Yeah.
Do we want to introduce ourselves to Zoe or does
Sure.
everybody know everybody? She's new, so. Oh, you did before the meeting started?
Yes, but we can
Okay.
do it formally.
Oh.
Jason Gerwin.
Hi, I'm Mary Dodsworth, work with the city.
Nikki York, office assistant.
Vito Iacobazzi. Shelley.
Hello.
Very nice.
And this is Zoe, she's our new youth council member.
Awesome. It looks like you have some public comment. Public comment has three. Do we have public comment?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Mary Pearson is on.
Yeah, I know, but what about Mary? Do we want to?
No comment.
You're here for public comment, Mary? Okay, you have 3 minutes, and if you want to start, you can feel free. Just name and residence.
So just to be clear, we're discussing the street ends proposal that was brought up last night.
What you have is you can speak during public comment, and we can give you 3 minutes to speak during that. So if you want that time, we can start that now.
Okay, how about later? Thank you, though.
This is your opportunity.
Okay,
So,
so thank you. I guess my name is Mary Bacon. I have a home in Lakewood. I had an opportunity to listen to the study that was presented last night. And I guess my public comment is, what is the city's plan to address these identified encroachment issues on our easements? And what would that take to resolve those encroachments? And does the city have a plan now, or is this something that will be investigated in the very near future? I'm just concerned that folks getting public property just by way of sitting on top of it for 7 to 10 years, it doesn't seem like a just or fair way to manage our property in Lakewood. So I'm curious, what is the city going to do with these identified deficiencies? Thank you.
I'll just reply on behalf. So last night, city council selected a pilot project. That was the purpose of the meeting last night. And during comment, they did talk about wanting to develop, we don't have a city encroachment policy. They certainly address encroachment when they find that out, and it's typically during the development of a project, building a street, putting in some kind of signal, or in a park development project. So When that becomes aware, then we deal with it based on the development that's occurring. So, if we're not planning to do development, then, the city hasn't typically taken action. So the council did suggest creating a policy. So I would see that as being part of their work program in early 2025. So that's how, and then the policy would be how it would be developed, and then they would determine at that point, whatever that policy is. I can't tell you what that would be. But everyone is really very individualized, typically, the encroachment. So, I'm not sure if they would just have one policy or if they'd have a series of suggestions or options or outcomes to change that, because it is public property and they want to make sure that it's being used by the people. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mary.
Thank you.
Next, we'll roll on to new business, and we have a street ends prioritization update.
Well, we just wanted to have a conversation about what happened last night. You know, we put the report together, and so we didn't, the park board had made a recommendation at the July meeting, which was forwarded to council. You all received a copy of that packet. And so it was really just to have a conversation about how that meeting went, what the final action was. And I think Jason and Vito were both there, so they could certainly provide some insight on that, as well as maybe some of you listened to the meeting or maybe saw the meeting today because it's recorded. So why don't you just share, Vito or Jason, about what occurred?
What I can say, there was a report by city staff. Stacy provided a full report, study PowerPoint was provided to us in the packet. I feel like there was lively debate. For someone who's been on this board for many years and studied street ends a couple times, I'm pleased that it seems like city council is ready to move forward with our number one site. And there was some discussion and some interest in being able to potentially open up some of the other sites. As we know, after 100th kind of got some attention, some people in the neighborhood just kind of cleared the site. And so I think it's important to the community. They want those access, but you know, we also have to be careful and we have to maintain them if we open them up. So kind of a double-edged sword, but I felt like council was very receptive to our input. I know that I was approached on the side before the meetings about our matrix and tweaking the matrix. And to me, you know, we set up that matrix at the beginning as what we were seeing as a fair way to grade the sites, and to manipulate the matrix after the fact to get the data to ship to your opinion doesn't make sense to me. And so I'm just pleased with this board and the thoughtfulness they put into the matrix score.
Yeah, I really don't have much to add. There was a good presentation. I think Stacy went over it with the detail, which gave them a good opportunity to understand the whole program. And we have done it for several, or over a decade, probably almost 2 decades, we've been doing the street ends. And I think from a cursory and a pretty high review, that report was good. It went over everything, and it hit the highlights of the best spent money. The biggest bang for the buck is right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I went by Westlake Avenue and it's doable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really doable.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be real good. It'll be a good first edition.
Did anybody else have any thoughts regarding that? Oh, so Westlake Avenue was the recommendation, and that's what council gave consensus to move forward towards. They are updating the Shoreline Master Program, and so we'll be making sure that whatever those changes are, that we're compliant with that. Also, regarding the suggestions of, can't we just go in and open all of them up? There really is sort of a fine line between maintenance and development. And so we really would have to work, and Shoreline is very, there's a lot of restrictions and mitigation and management that has to occur. So we would make sure that before we do this project specifically, but any really going in and that it's done strategically and thoughtfully, and looking at all of those principles of access, safety, risk management, et cetera. So we would be taking a look at that. And we're really grateful, Councilmember Pearson, who's our liaison. I thought you tied up the conversation really well last night, talking about doing something and doing something well and doing something right versus just doing a little bit here everywhere, trying to make everybody happy, which doesn't end up doing that. So I don't know if you had any other thoughts, Councilman Member Pearson, regarding the presentation or the process, or whatever your thoughts are. Appreciated you being there.
Yeah, thank you. I thought it was a good presentation. Um, I think that I generally agreed with PRAB's recommendation of doing it well. I'm not a huge fan of kind of creating ongoing maintenance issues and setting ourselves up for failure. I think that's doing us a disservice, and more people would be frustrated with that than happy. So, yeah, I think that I'm hoping that gets traction and we can do each of them well.
Great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Most of those sites have incredible amount of blackberry.
Yes.
Blackberry is a very difficult, and it's not a one-time you're going to eradicate it. It's going to be ongoing, so that the maintenance component is going to be real high, and it could be up to 5 to 10 years before you eradicate, and that's staying on it.
Yeah.
And then the sensitivity of next to the shoreline makes it even worse.
We did mention one of the things was when we were talking about that was, they'd mentioned the blackberries at Edgewater. And I was saying, just this past summer, so a year ago, they had all been cut down and removed. And, now this year they're all high again. And it is, unless you're going to really grub it and then redefine it, plant new plants and really have a really thoughtful replacement and then ongoing maintenance, it's just really hard to get in front of. So you just have to be understanding where you're going. So, yeah.
Any other comments on street ends? Hearing none, it looks like we are moving on to a park code update.
Right. So typically, one of our work items every year is, as requested by council, we update the park code, and we do a pretty thorough review about every 2 years. And then occasionally council gives us direction to think about, I think the last one was bikes on trails. There's a lot of conversation lately about e-bikes, et cetera. But I just wanted to let you know that we did update the park code without really coming through the council without coming through the park board, because we needed to add a definition. So we really weren't changing the code. We were just adding a definition, and that was definition for special events. We did send that out to you. The reason for that is that the city gets audited every year by our risk management. We don't have insurance. We're part of a risk management pool, but it's technically our insurance. And every year there's a new topic that they audit, and they do a much deeper dive into your operations. And so in 2023, it was special events and how we manage them, how we allow people to use the public space, how we mitigate those kinds of things. And so Nikki, who is the keeper of most of those things regarding permits, we met with them and presented the forms, the process, the kinds of pre-event reviews, the risk management, depending on what's happening, talking to different departments and experts. And Nikki did a great job sharing the process that she follows every time, very regularly. And they were very, very impressed with our very rigorous process. And the tools that we had in our toolbox. In fact, they took some of the things that we had to keep so they could share with other cities. However, the one thing that came back was they wanted us to have, we talk about special uses. We have in our code what they are and when you would need to get a permit, but they wanted the definition of special event. So it was really clear to the citizens or businesses or private groups when they would need to get a permit. So as you can see, the special event was defined as any use or activity which occurs on public or private property. That means not just parks. It could be a street. It could be a plaza here at City Hall. Could be a street end on public or private property that will affect the standard and ordinary use of the public streets, right-of-way, sidewalks, parks, public facilities, or open spaces, or requires additional levels of city service to maintain access, use, or safety for the general public. This includes, but not limited to, fairs and festivals and carnivals and sporting events, concerts, walks, runs, races, biking activities, markets, parades, exhibitions, festivals, group activities, dances, dignitary visits, and commercial buildings. So the idea is if you're going to come onto private or public property and use it for something, and it's going to interfere with Jason or Shelley or someone else's use of that public space, then we need to permit it and make sure that everything's safe. As we always say in parks, it's like our job is to make sure that the space is being protected, the event is safe for those attending, and that it doesn't interfere with the general population using the park. So that's really kind of the three-way approach that we really take in all events and activities. And we've done things an awful lot. We always can kind of see what's happening on the horizon based on Vito's big idea. And, you know, a lot of groups come regularly and we have great events and activities in Lakewood, but there's a lot of folks that show up, and I'll just say Vito's like the PTA dad of the year and he's in charge of the something at the park. That's not what he does, right? But he's got great ideas and he's got lots of enthusiasm. So he shows up and he says, here's what we want to do. And we're saying, great, this is a good space for this. This is a good space for parking. This is how you should flow. That's not going to work there. No, you can't do this activity, but you can do this activity. So we have a pretty good reputation for people leaving with, you know, feeling really supported. Really, our goal is to have them have a great event so that they, whatever their intent is that they have a great event. So
Congratulations.
so that's so I just want to give you a heads up. But this is a good time because we did send the code out to you. Is that you may want to just take a look at it. Maybe you have some thoughts from reading it in preparation of this meeting, but if not, maybe taking a look through it. And if there's a topic that you want to share with council to say, hey, maybe we should take a look at this. Sometimes it's times have changed. This policy might have worked 5 years ago, but now it might not work today, or things have changed in the field. So city council directs your work and they will be approving your work program in January. We will, at our November meeting, develop the work program that we'll share with them in January because it's your work program. So that's a good time for it to have, you know, those suggestions, and then council can decide if that's truly how they want to make use of your time. So are there any thoughts on just what we sent out? Did anything jump out at you? Like, wow, that's really interesting. I didn't even know that was a policy or a code. Oh,
A definitions.
Keep in mind that that link has the full code. So
Okay.
if you click on that link.
Oh, that's good.
You can review the full code. Yeah. Cause I only sent the updated part, not the,
oh, the full code.
yeah, I did, I sent the link to
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
This is in reference to the goal.
Yeah, so the full city code is Lakewood Municipal Code, and so that covers everything from streets and roads and signals and development, everything. We have our own park code, and so that would just be the one that you would need to focus on. If there was something else, we would send it to the organization that is in charge of that, which still could be us, but probably not.
Any other discussion on park code? Hearing none, it looks like you're still up with the director's report.
Fastest meeting ever. Okay, so I just wanted to introduce Zoe. It's good to have you with us. Zoe and the other youth council members did a kickoff event this late summer in August. And I think at the time we had 42 youth council members. So people are working hard to be on our youth council. That's why we have a series of folks. We have more than just Zoe, but she's our representative tonight. Do you want to talk? Were you at that? Were you able to go to that event? It was in August. I think they worked with city council a little bit. It was at the pavilion.
yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you share a little bit about the youth council? It is a big group. It kind of started back in the day, just for history. We've had a youth council since incorporation or soon thereafter. And in the early days, it was kind of like a group of kids. They volunteered at our special events. They did some different kinds of service activities. But over the years, they've really found their voice, and council's been really great about wanting to hear their voice. And so, sometimes they've had conversations with councils that have been a little uncomfortable because they've had things to say. So it's exciting that there's so many kids that are interested in really being a part of our community, learning about the community and how they can make an impact. So if you wanted to share a little bit about your observations, they've just been meeting for about a month. So, and they meet twice a month. So, but maybe share a little bit about the youth council and kind of maybe what you're looking forward to this year. And why did you want to be on our group?
Well, this is my first year on the youth council.
Okay.
My uncle is a firefighter in Olympia and he suggested it. So I signed up and I ended up getting in, and my first meeting was kind of interesting because I wasn't quite sure what we were gonna do, but as we started getting more meetings going, it was super fun because I realized that like we can have a say in what our city does, and we can make changes in what we think needs to be changed, especially because we're the next generation of adults in Lakewood. And I think that's super cool, and I look forward to volunteering and doing stuff with the city.
That's great. Well, we're excited to have you and welcome. What grade are you in and what school do you go to?
I'm a junior. I go to Stillicum up the road.
Oh, Silk High School. Okay, good. And so you must live in Oak Brook then, right? Yeah, great. Well, welcome. It's good to have your voice there.
Question. Yeah. Of these people, you're in that picture someplace.
I am.
The makeup, is there representation, equal representation between the schools? And is it high school only? Is it the middle school at all?
I don't know if there's any middle school
Okay.
students.
It's
but
just high school.
Just high school, and then roughly, is it equal between Clover Park, Lakes, Stillicum, or?
there are
Hard to tell.
definitely a lot more Clover Park and Lake students, and there's a bunch of Harrison Prep students.
Harrison Prep?
From what I know, it's me and one other student from Stillicum, but I'm hoping it kind of gets spread out so more people know about it.
They we've had homeschooled kids. We've had kids that went to private schools, like Bellarmine, or maybe I think there's Christ Lutheran or some other schools that have. We've also had youth from it. I'm not sure what it's called now. It's kind of like an alternative program. It's called
Open doors,
huh?
open doors.
Open Doors, yeah, that's one of them. So for kids that might need a less structured program, or because of work or life, they're in a different program. So every year it is, but we really work to try and get representation from all the different schools so that we can have folks taking the information back to the different schools with whatever the conversation is, but also get those different schools involved. So we don't have middle school kids on the youth council. However, the youth summit that they do, which I think is going to be in April this year, they do allow, I think, the eighth and ninth graders to come so that they can be a part of it, learn, and then again, have that succession for the next youth council so that they can see what it's all about. So yeah. Good, welcome, thanks. Oh, I'm still talking. Okay, youth council. So that was a kickoff. We didn't meet as a board in August. So just to finish up, farmers market was very, very successful. It continues to grow. Figure there's about 5,000 to 7,000 people that come every time. Now it starts at the end, 1st of June and went till the middle of September. I think we're going to probably cut it off at the end of August. The numbers drop significantly in September when the kids go back to school, vendors and participants. And it's a lot to run that event every week when we're getting ready now we got ready for like the festival, and we're getting ready for Tractor Day. So we may shorten that a little bit just to make it more feasible. But it was very, very successful. Of course, the concerts in the park bring a lot of folks out. We do that on the Tuesday night following, and that we saw the numbers grow in our concert attendance. And it's just a great partnership with the partner, or the market goes till 7 p.m. So again, folks that are working can come at the end of the day, and then the concert starts at 6:30. So, people can get their food and their flowers and their treats, and then they can come over and watch the concert, and that's great fun.
How many vendors are at the farmers market?
Gosh, it varies. So
Right.
probably during the summer, during the main time, I would say it starts at about 80. There's probably about 100 in the regular in the summer, and then it starts, whittling down. you know, I think there's probably 26 different food items or something, maybe it's. Yeah, and we've added, you know, we added the WIC, which are the Women, Infant, Children checks. We have SNAP. So folks that can come and get resources. Nikki's great about writing grants. So if you're getting SNAP, which is, you know, food support, you can get $20 on your SNAP card, and Nikki's coordinated so they get another $20 in a 25 in a grant. So folks get, everybody's welcome at the market, and so they can come and get fresh fruits and vegetables. And then they, the vendors, you know, the farmers, get reimbursed for that. So everybody's doing good. And so that was really one of the goals when we started, was to bring people to the community and to provide fresh fruits and vegetables for folks that might not have access to that. So it's really a great program, and that's grown quite a bit too. Did you have anything you want to share about that, or?
Well, the last 2 years, we've done 18,000 in SNAP and match combined per market season.
So yeah, so that's really great. It's good for the vendors. It's good for the families. And then we also do Healthy Bucks, which is sponsored by Franciscan or St. Clair, and it's I think we get $2,000 or $3,000 a year for that. And we have these vouchers, they're $2 coupons for they're called Healthy Bucks, and they're for all the kids. So any kid gets to come and they get to get their Healthy Buck, and then they get to go to a farmer or a vendor, and it's $2 of whatever they want to pick. So it's really fun because some kids come every week, and we do it until we run out of the Healthy Bucks. And some kids come every week, and they come up, can I get my Healthy Bucks? And then they get to try new things. And so you'll see a kid out there, and it's fun because you say, what did you get with your Healthy Bucks this week, right? And it might be cherries or some weird looking kohlrabi or something, you know, they get to try new things. So it's really makes kids excited about it. And generally, I think the kids get to go
The
pick.
cutest one was seeing a kid walking around with cucumber.
Yeah.
Just so happy that he got that cucumber. And then there's other kids that save them. So they come up every week and then they save them so they can get something big.
Oh, yeah. See, there you go. Strategic. So that's great fun. And then that led into our Fiesta de la Familia. That was it's a festival that started as a street festival, like we have our street festivals in the summer. It started as a street festival, and we just started bringing the right partners in, and it's a festival with this for Hispanic heritage. And we had dancing horses this year. Great PR. The Mexican Consult came last year, and they were so impressed. They were all over helping spread the word. It's vendors, there's arts and crafts. We have an art show. We have the Ofrenda, how do you pronounce it? Ofrenda. And that is kind of a altar area where you can respect the people in your family. And are you showing them some pictures?
Oh, I was gonna see if I could get the video on.
Okay. Anyway, it's just a really lovely event, and it's really great. We've gotten notes back from folks. It's like, I live in Lakewood, I'm Hispanic. I'm really grateful that I get to really celebrate my heritage here in the community. So equity is super important to our council. And so we, you know, having things like this, we'll be doing the MLK Beloved Community Welcome Walk in January. And so we're really trying to make sure, we're really always thinking, how do we make these festivals and activities and events accessible to all? And that means that when everybody comes, they know how to come, they're respected when they get here, there's something that's interesting to them, and they can feel like, you know, they're part of our community. So.
Yeah, it'll take me minutes.
While she's finding that. And then just coming up, we have, I was also going to say, at the end of the farmers market this year in August, we also celebrated the City of Lakewood Police Department 20 years. It was their 20-year anniversary.
Wow.
So they piggybacked with the farmers market. I think it was the 27th. It was the last concert in August. And they, so that was kind of a big deal. It's like, my gosh, we just started and now it's been 20 years. So that's fun. And then just as the finale, we do have this weekend our Harvest Hoedown. It's Partners for Parks. It's a fundraiser for the H Barn. It's going to be outside of the H Barn because we can't go in there yet. But we'll all be around the H Barns, and it's $10. It's free for kids, and it's going to be live music and just games and activities and food trucks, and it'll be an opportunity to kind of learn more about the H Barn renovation. It's sort of the kickoff to the public piece. We've been doing a lot of fundraising with groups and organizations, and they're at $2.1 million. So they've been doing a pretty dang good. We had a kids parade this year, so we had kids and they followed the mariachi band, and we had a children's parade too. And again, those are made possible with just great partnerships. You know, we don't do anything by ourselves in Lakewood. And so anyways, great event. And I think they figure there's 7,000 or 8,000 people that came this year. So last year, they think it was about 5. And then again, it started as a street festival. So really is growing, and really getting good feedback from folks on that. So yeah, that's what's happening.
Next, we're on to board member comments.
I have a comment. First of all, I'm glad to be a resident of Lakewood. I'm so impressed with a lot of things that I've learned in the last 5 years. And then in this particular edition of Connections, whoever's in charge of this does a great job.
Bryn Grimley, she's our
Is
communicator.
that right? And especially the piece on the parks and what the planning is, and it's first class
Good.
operation. Really
Thanks.
impressed.
We're glad you're part of our community too.
I'm glad to be here.
So the house is down on Edgewater,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And the house is down.
Yes.
is it
yeah.
the house I'm thinking of?
Yeah, it's a house on the end of Edgewater Park, and that was, that whole process has gone through the court system, and so that's happened, and we did apply for grants, so we did present for 2 grants. There's gonna be 3 that we applied for. Well, there might be an allocation from the state too, but the first grant was for water access, and we are the second ranked grant at $2.2 million. That's what we
Nice.
requested. There's no limit. So we said, great, 50% of the project. So 3 of the phase 1 part. So 2.2 million, and we're the second ranked project. So that's pretty likely we'll get funded. The second grant was for that's water access for ALEA, which is Aquatic Lands Enhancement Account. The maximum you can apply for is 500,000. We were the third ranked project in the state. And so it's likely that we'll get funded there. The next grant we'll be applying for is a boat launch grant, because the idea is to put the boat launch down on that property. And we'll apply for $1 million for that one.
Yeah.
And, we're kind of good at it. So hopefully we'll be top of the line there. And then the city, as part of their legislative policy, is going to ask for legislative resources to just round that out. So it ends up being, if you do everything, it's like $7.8 million, and that'll be $4 million that we'll be able to bring in.
That's great.
Yeah, so.
And the state's looking pretty good for the grants.
Well, for the RCO grants, yes. It's really going to be a tough year for the state. The revenues, projections have been challenging. There's a lot of issues they have to do with the school district. But these are bonded projects from over the years. So although it's tight, how much will they allow us to do? And I think that the RCO board and also the Washington Recreation and Wildlife Coalition, who are big advocates for this program, as well as Washington Recreation and Parks Association, which is made up of people like us, are going to be requesting $150 million. And that gets divided amongst all kinds of grants: trails, outdoors, playgrounds, sports, shorelines, all these different grant programs. There's math involved with who gets what where. But being ranked that high is pretty likely we're going to get funded. So yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good to us.
Very good. Any update on the shelter over the log?
Oh, it should be here. What month are we in? September still?
Yeah. The end of September.
Yeah, it's supposed to be here the end of September, so it's either already here because it's tick-tocking away. So it's just waiting for the shelter, and so the shelter has to be installed over it. And then, we have a gentleman from Gig Harbor that's gonna come and reseal it for us. He's
Oh, nice.
volunteering. His name's Dallas or Dakota. I think it's Dallas. He lives in Gig Harbor. He's a professional painter, and so he saw the project, and so he's gonna come and strip it down, not strip it down, but prepare it and reseal it for us.
Nice.
So that's cool. And then we were waiting for the shelter because initially there's a fencing material, so to speak, that was gonna go all around the shelter, but it's just kind of breaking our hearts to be putting a piece of wood in a cage. So we're gonna actually still put it in a cage because we have to protect it, because not everybody is
Yeah.
as wonderful as you might be in a park. So, but we're gonna consolidate it and have it be more just around the log so you can get up closer to it, and the shelter will provide that coverage. So, yeah, so it's on its way. The fencing materials is already here. It's at Fence Specialties. That's who we usually get our fences from, and they'll be creating that interior cage. Neely Construction, who did the ball fields at Port Silicon, is the contractor that we're working with to actually do the work. They laid the pad, they
Oh,
moved it and put it in place.
Yeah,
And
looks
so
good.
they'll be putting it
Yeah.
together. So, yeah,
Good.
work in progress like everything else.
Yeah.
Permits, then we have to get some more permits, and then we have to get contractors. It's never super, super easy. So, but we're doing our best. So,
Good. Thank you.
any other questions from anyone about anything? We got lots going on.
Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Yeah, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wow, that was fast.
Opposed?
Fastest
None?
meeting ever.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
You're on time for your next meeting.
Thanks, bye.
Thank
Are
you.
you going to Lake City?
When is Lake City?
Um,
The Lake City neighborhood meeting?
no, not the
Oh.
neighborhood meeting, the mayor and.
Oh, the desserts in the
Yeah,
driveway.
yeah.
Oh, when is that?
Tonight.
Oh, it's tonight.
6:30.
No, I will not be going to that. But just to let everybody know, the city's, has been doing, they were calling them desserts in the driveway. So they've been doing some things like in neighborhood areas. They did something out in Tillicum, and tonight it's gonna be over at the old Lake City Elementary School. It's just a big open space. So, if anybody wants to stop by on your way home, it's just a way of having council and have a chance to visit, and kind of like National Night Out, but